Okay, hello Sarah, thank you very much for the invitation, and hello everybody. I would like to thank you for joining us today. I hope that you will learn something today, and the most important that you stay healthy during this confinement. So I'm going to start now the session. Okay, I created this overview just to give you an index about what we are going to cover today. So we have 4 parts. The first part is a short explanation about KNX Virtual and how to get it. The second part is a quick overview about the KNX Virtual devices currently implemented and how to establish a connection between the KNX Virtual and the ETS Professional. The third part will be covering create a dimming function and how to handle that with the KNX Virtual and the ETS Professional. And the fourth part is a brief overview about the group monitor and the basic diagnostics. In general, today's goal is how to show you how to realize the basic function dimming in ETS with KNX Virtual devices. So, in order to show in practice how to create that basic function, we need some devices and of course our software ETS Professional. KNX Virtual actually is a device simulator that runs on Windows and simulated to spare KNX devices like push buttons, switching actuator, dimming actuator, which is the topic of today, blind actuator, and so on. Therefore, we don't need a physical KNX device for this presentation, and that's the goal. At the first, we developed KNX Virtual for internal usage only. However, since the tremendous amount of requests from our community and seeing the potential, we decided to make it public. And so you can also get it and tell us know about if you will need more features or whatever. It's free of charge, as presented in this slide. You can go through My KNX, ordering it, but don't be worried, even if it requires an order, you will not be charged of anything at the end of the process. Once you go through the ordering process, you will see that in your account, under your products, you just have to click download and then get it. Once you download it, then you just have to extract the content. It's a simple zip file that contains NXA and run it. So you don't require any installation, and it's virus-free, of course, as long as you download it from the My KNX portal. Okay, I think it's enough for the time being about presenting what KNX Virtual is. If you would like to see more information, don't hesitate to visit the website we reserved for it about, which is knxvirtual.knx.org, as you can see on the slide. Well, now we can start with some features about. So after opening the KNX Virtual, you just have to double click. You see the welcome screen, and now if you click settings, you can see about the various settings of the KNX Virtual that consists in the IP address, the IP port, and others. So we have reserved a default address for him, and then that's what we can see later on in ETS. Then once we set up the settings, then we can see the information. Then we will see different views using the views menus. For the current function, we just have to use the base and the devices view. For today, it will be more than enough. So let's start from the devices overview, where you can see a list of devices represented by the programming button function, represented by the starting individual addresses, which is by default 1515 to 55, and of course the naming, which I'm highlighting right now, SA B01, DA B01, which is what we are going to use to match in the ETS via the online catalog function. So In this case, if we switch to the base overview, then it will be represented a simple rocker with a lot of push buttons on the left side, and each of those has two different rockers for switch on, switch off function. And on the right side, you can see different actuator virtualized. The switching actuator for the lamps, the dimming lamps, that is the one that we are going to see today. We can see in the various functions that you can put a lamp in not working mode. We use the German word kaputt, but it's quite fine for anybody. And then if you click on them again, you can see them working as well again. Now I'm going to see something live for you. So just a second that I set up everything. I already did my setup project in my ETS. So I created a project, okay, and I already opened my KNX Virtual. So I'm going to open the project and show you what I did to prepare everything well. So what I did basically is to create a building function. So I simply create a structure in the building where I put in the cabinet two elements that I fetch from the catalog. As for me, if it will happen, and you don't have such information in your local catalog, you just can go back to the settings catalogs, settings, online catalog, and enable the online catalog to fetch the up-to-date information from KNX Association. Let's come back to the project, by the way. So if I have to add something of KNX Virtual, of course, is in the catalog under the KNX Association list. And as I told you before, we can use the naming reported here to do a search. Example given PB. Be sure to get the correct one based on the name. So in this case, KNX Virtual, based on its versioning, show you the name B02. So we have to pick up this product to add another one to our project. That's what I did before. You can do that by drag and drop directly on the building, like that. Or you can do add at the end of the catalog usage. So that's basically what you can do with your catalog. Then, let me close the catalog for the time being. What I did is create the first linking, because you have to know, and probably you already know because of previous session, that to create and link function together, basically we have to match the so-called group object via a group address, and that's what I did prior to. So I simply select example given, the dimming function on off in the push button, which is represented by these clicks, which is BO2, and the corresponding function in the dimming actuator, which is the channel 1 of the DA-B01. As you can see, both are linked, to the group address 001. So to do that, actually, I did an easy way. I selected both channel, so the group object, and I did link with, and it can be represented as here with the same group address. So I did that for the corresponding function on off for the dimming control, which can be hosted by our rocker, and for the feedback of the dimming value. There is one group object more in the dimming actuator, which is the dimming value, for which I used a separated group address which has no corresponding link to the rocker. This is because mainly rockers are not used to send a direct percentage information, but well other active element on the bus like scenes or third-party controls can set up a direct dimming value percentage for the actuator. So once I did that, so once I configured both the devices, I simply select and did download. I start with the full download for the clicks. When a full download has been started from ETS, which by the way you can see in my historical in the ETS operation, I've been requested by this interface to click the programming button, and I did it simply clicking on the corresponding square. The first was for the clicks application, so for the rocker, and then I did that for the dimming actuator. So that's again already done for simplicity of today. Then what else I can say? Yeah, when everything is done, we can check if there are other options, like in any other real devices, not only the virtual, but virtual is very good to show you that right now by changing the parameters in the parameter tab in the ETS. I will quickly show you what I mean. Example given, I selected this option about the feedback, so to have the dimming value as feedback in the parameter tab. That will materialize, of course, the group object info dimming value that I'm going to use to see how, or better, at which percentage the value of the dimmer is. So doing everything like that, let's check what does it mean in practice. I will change view to the base, which is actually right now corresponding via a rocker already programmed, and the dimmable lamp, which is without any broken channel. So basically the functions that we can show are, I can switch on, which make this light yellow function. I can dim up by long pressure on the plus, and as you can see, the channel become more and more and more and more yellow. That means that I dim up from probably the 25% to 100%. Then I can dim down using the other button of the rocker, and as you can see, the luminosity of the channel decreases, and then I can switch off. Example given. A very prominent topic of the lamp, the dimmable lamp, are that if I switch off and on, simply I come back to the previous balance status on the lamp. So let's do some other examples using the diagnostic to see what in practice this means. So I will start with the lamp switch off, just out of simplicity, and I'm going to recall our diagnostic tool. So with this bus monitor session, what I can say is, let's have a look on what it will happen on the bus. I will simply switch on the light for the time being. That means that this element sends a frame to this element to do an actuation. And that's what happened, and that's what we can see on the bus. Look, the push button sends a frame E1, so a telegram, which the command switch on. And of course, since I programmed already the status feedback from the actuator, the dimming actuator informs the bus, and we can see that the source address is different, about, yes, I was switched on, and my actual percentage is 87%. So let's dim down, example given. As you can see, this is the outcome. Let's see what this implies in the bus monitor. As you can see, now we received from the rocker a dimming control down decrease with a certain percentage. Then I stopped because this was the long pressure time frame. And when I stop, the percentage feedback has been changed. And this is represented by a different yellow fading color. So basically, that's how it works, our function. As I told you before, I had another group address to dim directly to a certain percentage, which is 003. On which example given, I can set up, I don't know, now it's 37%, I will put 90. And if I put 90, this is a direct command which is not given by our rocker, but it can be given by something else on the bus. That set up the 90% value because the actuator, the dimming actuator, answers us, yes, I'm really at 90%. And as you can see, the fading has been changed. We can do a different, more prominent example, like I will start from switch off and I will go to 90% again, which you see it colors in fully yellow. So basically that's how it works. Let me close the monitor for the time being.
So last week we covered the switching function, and just now we finished the dimming, and then next later this week, Thursday, actually, we'll cover the blinds. Next week, 2 sessions of new features and novelties. So if you have not signed up for the webinars yet, so you can go to our website and simply do so. And for any reason, for example, if you are too busy, you cannot make to the webinars, or you have missed the previous sessions, you don't have to worry because we have it all covered. And you can just go to our website and visit, like we have recordings listed. All the recordings are published on our YouTube channel, so you can just on the same page of signing up for the webinars, at the bottom, go for the link. Now we are moving on to the Q&A session. So I can see that one question is, how can I realize time-based dimming? For example, 20% dim light at night and 80% dim light at day. Very good question. Roberto, can you answer that?
Yes, I can try to answer that. So basically what you have to use is a scene control, which is not actually covered by this webinar, but it's covered by the KNX Virtual. So I would ask you to try to experiment yourself about that. Use the scene function using the parameters and modeling the parameters. You can see how this is possible. If necessary, contact us for more information.
Okay. Great. Let's move on to the next question. So, can we add real KNX devices with virtual KNX for training? Well, actually, maybe I can answer the question. The KNX virtual devices, it is not a real installation, but you can reacts like one, so you can play with it without any investment on the real devices. But Roberto, please correct me if I am wrong. So can you add?
No, you are not wrong. I would say a mix up of both is possible. Yes, it is. Actually, Sarah has a point. It's more easier with the KNX Virtual that with a real device where you have to cable. But it's up to you to choose. It's not
okay.
Denied.
So it is possible to combine both. That's the answer. And next question is, in a bus monitor, what is the meaning of indicator column S equals 2, S equals 4, S equals 6, and so on?
That's a sequence number. I would I would ask you to refer to the KNX specification for the real meaning. I don't know by heart, to be honest, about the numbering.
Okay, great. I think like with KNX Virtual, it is a special case because it's not like any just a theory. You have to actually play with it and to know how it works. If you have any questions later on, you can either send us an email or go to our YouTube channel and in the according video, leave a comment to us. So let's
Other
say.
questions?
Yeah, I think for now we have, well, actually there's somebody asking about is there any webinar how to mix KNX Virtual and real devices? Right now we don't have such a session coupled yet, but in the future that's possible. And yeah, looks like we have covered all the questions now. With that, we want to wrap up the webinar and we hope to see you next time. And thank you very much again for joining us.
Thank you also from my side. Have a nice day. Stay healthy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.